it off. We can do that. I can kick it off.
Kick it off.
I don't mind kicking it off. We're deep in like episode.
Oh, we're deep.
36 territory? I don't know. But thank you everybody for being here. It's been a little while since we've been on.
How did you just pronounce while?
A little while.
While?
I added a little bit of that Nerdwire slang to it, you know?
While.
A little while.
It's been since July.
Since July. Since I drove my vehicle. It's been a little while.
It's my vehicle.
July. Do you get in your vehicle to go pick up a carton of milk?
I should. I need, but it's not milk. It's milk.
Milk?
It's milk.
Oh
Milk.
Yeah,
How do
milk.
you pronounce milk?
Milk.
What?
Milk.
Is that with an E or an I? That's milk. Milk.
Oh.
I can't right now.
What have I done wrong?
You just nothing. You've never done anything wrong. You are an angel.
Yeah, you don't do anything wrong.
Oh my god.
Oh man. Oh my gosh. Anyway, please continue. I'm sorry. I had totally
No, it's fine.
Look, opening.
I'm on a tangent. Huh?
I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to be here with you guys. I'm excited to be here with everybody in the live chat and those of you listening after the fact on YouTube or Spotify and iTunes and all that good stuff. We hope you guys are going okay. We are in episode 36 is 37. I don't know. We were off last week because KB had a prior commitment. He was doing something in the Mushroom Kingdom. I don't know, but we're back.
You had something go on last week too, though.
Me?
Yeah, you. It's
I
something
can't-
fairly important, wasn't it?
It was.
What'd you have? What'd you do? I can't wait to talk about my things. It was fun.
Maybe you celebrated a union of some sort yourself?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot I was married for 7 years last week.
Oh man, I was ready to do the show. I was like, "Hey, let's do this." And Eric's like, we can't do the show without KB. And while that's true, I was like, it's fine. Then I find out later from my wife, because your wife tells my wife, and my wife comes to me and she goes, Eric could have just told you it was his anniversary. And I'm like, yeah, he could have just told me that.
That's all right. Eric, I can be the scapegoat if you need it, man.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I
You can just let me
celebrate.
celebrate
Hold
you
on.
just a little bit more.
Hold on.
Yeah.
April 2nd is our day. That's
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I just completely forgot to tell you. That's my
You
bad.
just-
Are you totally bad with holidays, Eric?
I'm good with holiday, but I didn't even realize Easter is tomorrow. I had no idea.
Well,
I
it's not in
didn't
the
either.
United
I didn't
States
either.
lands.
Yeah.
It's day after tomorrow.
That's true. Too. That's true.
I know.
Future upside down living, boy.
That's,
Eric.
this is the problem. I hit 30, everything downhill.
Oh, huh. Preach.
Everything downhill.
Preach.
Memory, long-term memory, short-term memory, all of the memory.
No
At
term
least you
memory.
got your hair, man. At least
Nothing.
you got your hair. You're in your 30s. You got your hair. That's, you know what I mean? What else could you want?
Well, not
You
much.
know?
Probably less heartburn and more of a strong back.
Oh my god.
Dude, the heartburn is real, though.
The heartburn. I've had heartburn for a little while, but I tell you what, like last night I ate something, then I was just rolling and tossing and turning with heartburn. I had a Pop-Tart this morning. And I also had 2 pancakes with a ton of chocolate sprinkles on them, and I'm just feeling
That'll do
I don't
it.
know. Anyway, you know what I want to know? How you guys are going. It's been a little while. What's up?
Where are you going, KB?
Well, last week I went to a wedding, and oh boy, was that interesting.
I heard that.
So,
Tell me more.
So we've been having the whole United States has been having some wicked storms, and we had some very strong wind blow through. And that was the first wedding I went to that the tables were lit by candlelight and the kitchen was run by generator.
It was an Amish wedding.
The DJ was on battery power. He would play some music and go, hold on, I'm gonna shut down for a minute, go charge up off the Jenny, and then we're gonna be good to go. At one point the generator ran out of gas. So this groundskeeper, my man was around when Noah was, building the ark, and he's shuffling to his car, comes back half hour later with gas. I'm like, this is an interesting time. Then like halfway through dinner, the lights came back on. I'm like, oh, good. I can finally see what I'm eating. But it was, man, I'll tell you what, if anything makes you want to feel like you're in Game of Thrones at the Red Wedding, do it with a generator pumping and by candlelight with
That's
dead
not
sun.
the episode you want to be at.
I know, but I'm sitting there like, man, last time I saw a wedding that was in the dark by candlelight, man, everybody got massacred. Like,
That is amazing.
It's too amazing.
Was it at least good tasting food that you couldn't see?
oh, dude, it was real good. It had two big ass chicken breasts in my face, and then a little bit of mashed potatoes, some capers. I didn't even know what the hell a caper is. Some green.
You still
some
don't.
green.
You didn't get
What's
the
a caper?
I didn't-
Your body processed it. You don't even know what's in it.
It was. I mean, it was good. It was a good time. And then after that, I mean, just kind of been hanging out here. We the dogs have a bed now. They have their own bedroom. It is now my office. Their beanbag they've been sleeping on is now gone. They have a twin bed now, a full twin. Imagine that.
Even on the risers and everything.
Yes, sir.
Some bougie doggies.
Dude, tell me, man. Tell me. They have their own bed. They're gonna have. I go to Mrs. KB because I was telling some people, I'm like, yo, check out the bed, and they're like, oh, they need some Star Wars sheets, and I said that comment to her, and she goes, I've already been looking at them. So like,
This is the way.
so they're gonna have their own thing, man. Talk about living in the lap of luxury, man. These two boys. While they might, the start of their life might have been rough, man. They're living in the Taj Mahal here. I'll tell you that much.
Can't wait till you change the whole meaning of a dog's breakfast pretty soon.
Oh yeah.
I'll tell you what,
Them
dude.
capers.
You know what, though, dude. You know what, Cody? That just means I got a bed for you, man. Whenever you just want to, you know what I mean. You just want to say, "The hell with this, I'm out."
Me and the dogs.
Or Mrs. Nerd says, "The hell with you and Marty, I'm out of here."
That also makes sense. That's
Yeah,
probably
yeah.
more realistic.
Yeah.
Oh man,
What's happening
Is
with
that
you?
the only thing going on? Me. Oh man, it's been a heck of a past 2 weeks, guys. Like I am spent, more spent than I've ever been in my entire. That's a lie, but at the same time, like I am tired, and a lot of it has to deal with. So Mrs. Nerd had surgery on her foot, and that kind of put her down for the count. And then right before that, though, my kiddos got sick. So they were puking and pooping and everything. Yeah, I mean, well, it was. So we sent them to my parents, right? So we sent them to my parents, and then I came on here and talked a little bit about that the last time we were live. I think I did. I don't remember anymore. Time is a construct.
Yeah.
But so they got really bad sick, and then came home and still sick. And Mrs. Nerd is still recovering. Now she has a sinus infection. She's already not been feeling good either. So that couples it. It has been Mr. Mom and Mrs. Dad, all played by Cody Christian here at this household for the last it feels like 2 weeks. It's probably been closer to about 10 days.
Oh, man.
Mrs. Nerdwire instead of Mrs. Doubtfire. That's you.
Yeah. So it's I'm looking to the horizon. But there's been some. Mrs. Nerdwire in the live chat, by the way, says I'm dying. I'm looking forward to the horizon. We've got a few good things that have happened this past week. I went and caught a movie, maybe once or twice, that we're probably going to be talking about a little bit later on. Non-spoilery. Okay, so before all you guys tune out.
Yep.
Non-spoilery. But went and caught that, finished up some Mario games. I actually finished up every single
Saw that.
first party platform Mario game by the time the Mario movie came out. And even if I was on the day that it came out, look, give me some
Hey, I'm
credit.
proud of you.
Yeah, well,
Thank you. And then to top that off, like I've got a couple of things coming in the mail. The vinyl for the Super Mario Bros. Movie soundtrack
you ordered
launched
it
today on IM8-bit, and I ordered it. Yep, instantly. I was like, I'm getting that.
Did you see the collector's thing from the Walmart exclusive for the DVD?
No.
I pre-ordered that. It is a star. It's a power star that the disc sits in, and it's its own display. Definitely look that up. It's
Only DVD?
4K Blu-ray.
Oh, you said DVD. I was like, holy crap,
Well,
old man.
I mean, whatever. But here, this is while you look at that. This is for less
here, I'll
than
bring it
Sarah.
up.
There's your photographic proof.
It's
Look at
up.
that.
Of
Look at
what?
that. There's the bed. There's their bed.
Mrs. Nerdwire says, looking now. Okay, please order that, Mrs. Nerdwire.
There,
I really
there you
wanted
go.
that.
Right there. $37.96.
Yep. I grabbed that. Look at that, dude. I kind of want the vinyl, but I've heard some bad things about the company, selling it. So
I've never had any issues out of them other than everything always gets delayed, but it eventually comes.
I figure I might give it a
They
bit.
did a great job on the Cuphead album.
That's
And
what
I'm
I
still
grabbed.
waiting on that Eastward album.
Wow.
Oh yeah.
Look at that thing though.
That's pretty cool.
Because that's gonna look Dude, it's gonna look great alongside this on a shelf.
Oh
so
my
I mean,
God.
Hey, you got the same bucket? No, that's a different
this
bucket.
one, dude. This one's all metal. This is a tin.
Mine's plastic, but
This is an embossed tin, dude.
oh man.
I got nothing.
Eric, did you get anything cool?
They didn't have anything.
Upside Down Land?
No.
What douchebags? Let me
right?
talk to Cinemark Australia.
Well, there's another cinema like entity that has other stuff. The place that we went, I suppose, was more of like a budget theater. I don't know. They didn't have any licensing or tie-in things. So I'm going to go back next week at some stage and try and see it again because my son doesn't stop talking about it. Doesn't stop asking me to go and see it again. So
I've got 2 of these.
oh my God.
If you want one,
Don't mail
I
me
will
this
mail
freaking
one.
bucket, dude.
Eventually. Not
If you
now.
want-
Not until you have a home where you can store everything that you want to have.
Yeah.
Oh, hold on. If you want, I should be going tomorrow. They have the cups too, man. I could score you a cup if you want, Eric.
There was a cup. You better
we
think
got-
about your boy.
I mean, I'll get 3 Cokes. I don't care. I'll drink them
Get
all.
3 Cokes.
Dude, you will be
like
like
to pee real bad afterwards.
Hey, right here. I'll get another one of these. I'll just, you know what I mean?
give me an empty one so I can fill that in.
It'd be amazing.
There you go.
Oh man. I'm just looking at this thing. It's beautiful. But anyway, so yeah, I saw the movie a couple of times. I saw it in 2D, saw it in 3D. It was
Nice.
really, really good.
Yeah.
And then that's pretty much been my life. Watched a lot of anime this past week. The Dragon Ball Superheroes movie came out on digital. I watched it.
Oh yeah.
That was really good. I watched it back when it was in theaters. I expected it to be good. Caught up on My Hero Academia. I have 3 minutes left in the last episode, so
Hell yeah.
that's out so far. But that's been my life.
Oh,
Speaking of movies,
I've been,
Tetris. Did you see that, KB?
yes, dude, it's so good.
We watched it last night.
Oh, it's so, dude, it is because like I've watched the Gaming Historians mini documentary on it, and it is outside of the car chase scene. I'm sorry if that's a mild spoiler. Outside of a car chase scene, it's all 1 for 1, dude. Like, it's good. It's so good. And I'll tell you what, there must be something with video game movies in the song I Need a Hero.
Oh my God, I know, right?
You hear it twice in Tetris. You hear the Japanese version and the Russian version. Then in the Mario movie, you hear the actual version of it, like the English speaking version. So it's good. It's really good. I mean,
Licensing must be really cheap for that song right now. As many people as are using it.
Maybe. I mean, let's get it. That could be our end credits.
We should just do that.
Yeah,
Eric,
right?
like, can you do a rendition of I Need a Hero?
Yeah, I could do that. Yeah, I could do that.
He says, rolling his eyes, dripping with sarcasm.
And I also watched The Last of Us, the entire show.
Did you?
What do you think?
I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah.
Open-mindedly.
On a scale of 10, 10 being good, okay, 10 being good, 1 being bad, so that way we don't get our numbers crossed, because I know you live in the Upside Down. Where would you place it?
Well, I'd probably get a good 7.
7. There you go.
I really enjoyed it.
A good 7.
I really enjoyed it. Did you finish it, KB?
No, I don't care to finish it.
Do I have a crush on Pedro Pascal? Absolutely. Please be my daddy.
Well, I mean,
He's such a daddy. He's such a
He
daddy.
can cart me around in a little hover egg all day. You know what I'm
It
saying?
was really good. It was really good. It was really good. But anyway, no, me and Mrs. Nerd also finished that one on time with it. So
Yeah.
I'm with you. 7's a good number.
Yep. I agree.
It's news time.
I mean, look at this.
Patreon time? What time is it?
It's a Patreon time. You know what I'm saying? So I want to thank these. I want to thank these 15 people. By the way, 15 people supporting us on Patreon now with the latest Rachel and Shiny Bird, the 2 newest additions. Just remember, you can get.
I feel like I misspelled Rachel.
You did. You said
I might have
Rachel.
misspelled Rachel.
Rachel.
Hey, Rachel.
It's fine. We'll fix that. 3 tiers, more content, more often. We're having some more stuff go up this week. We're going to do our Mario spoiler cast, Patreon exclusive for now, as well, just so we don't alienate any of our normal viewers with any of our discussions today. So, and plus we also have the KB origin story if you haven't caught that yet. So I really like all that stuff, and I appreciate everybody supporting us over there. It's great. 15 is a huge number on Patreon.
Mm-hmm. It is.
You know what it's time for? You know what it's time for?
Fixed.
time is it?
I think it's time for the news, but I say we just kick into that. I'm breathing hard and heavy. You know why?
Why?
Because
So hard and heavy?
I'm a big fan of the N64 era. I'm a big fan of Rare, the 90s giant developers that gave us some of the classic games that we love, like Donkey Kong Country, Donkey Kong 64, Banjo-Kazooie, and also Diddy Kong Racing. But also there's this other little furry squirrel dude that gets around by the name of Conker. Conker had his debut in Diddy Kong Racing as alongside Banjo. And Conker was supposed to be like this friendly, fluffy little squirrel. And then they shifted over to Conker's Bad Fur Day, which was a very like adult, like 18 plus 3D collectathon game with a lot of grotesque humor and funny adult humor references and stuff. Like it's a really funny game. But did you guys know? Did you guys know that there was an original game planned for the N64, and it was called Conker 12 Tales 64. So Tim Stamper, who was the one of the two Stamper brothers who were the heads of Rare, posted this N64 developer card last week on Twitter, firing up Conker 12 Tales, like the actual splash screen. So that basically confirmed like 12 Tales Conker 64. The original game exists in some way, shape, or form. So this is a huge deal. So a lot of game preservationists have reached out to Tim Stamper in the comments saying, hey, can we get our hands on this cartridge? Hey, can we like dump the cart? Can we do all this and that? I just think it's so cool to see a game that was never released shown off in developer form on an N64. So he's obviously killed the power before it can go any further. So I think that's really cool, and I was really hyped about that when I saw that. So I don't know if there's any other fans here of Rare or Conker, but that's a pretty big deal.
That's freaking amazing. That like triple decker test cartridge that they have going on there is super cool.
Yeah.
Like when I saw your note in the doc for this today, with the 12 Tales game teased by X Rarehead, I wasn't prepared to see that because I just clicked on that link as you were pulling it up too. I wasn't prepared to see it on an N64. I thought we were getting like a teaser trailer for something launching on Steam or what have you. That's just freaking way cooler. Is like running on OG hardware.
Yeah, I think it was really cool to follow to see that in my timeline, and then I've now followed Tim Stamper. So that leads me to the conclusion that there may be a full game out there. Of course, another cool thing to see would be the original game that Banjo-Kazooie was supposed to be. It was called Project Dream. It was supposed to be a bigger Super Nintendo game, and they got too big, and they had to shift it over to the N64, and then it eventually became Banjo. Apparently, some like early builds of that exist. So I know that they don't really work for Rare anymore. Like they're just doing their own thing, and Rare is its own entity. But I would love for some of these things to come out in some way, shape, or form. So that would be pretty cool.
I agree.
There you go.
That's freaking awesome.
I agree. Speaking of games preservation, Dolphin finally comes to Steam. An official build of the GameCube and Wii Dolphin emulator is coming to Steam, and that's very, very exciting. That's going to be this year. They're aiming for Q2, so I would say that puts it into summertime, roughly.
That's almost kind of like nowish.
Yeah.
Is it now?
I mean, it depends on the company, because like a lot of people say Q1 doesn't start in their January. Q1 will start in their February. So February, March, April. We're still technically in Q1. Q2 though, I mean, that could be anywhere from next month to the following 2 months. Hopefully, that's crazy.
I think this is interesting because as of right now, the only like official emulator I believe on Steam is RetroArch. Yeah, RetroArch, whatever. That's the only one I know of that you can actually go on Steam and download it. So that being like a definitive version of that, because if you try to emulate GameCube and Wii, there's so many different versions of Dolphin. One does one thing, the other doesn't, and the other one, vice versa. I really like the fact that they're saying, yeah, man, put it on here. Let's go. I mean, it's going to make playing these titles that are going away, or the ones that, if your disc is failing now, you can play it officially, technically, on your PC through an emulator that you got not from a sketchy website.
Well, so it would be optimized. That's the thing.
Absolutely,
and that's what you want. So you don't have to fluff around with all that stuff. I mean, with Steam Deck and stuff, I mean, you have to do a little bit of extra digging to try and get like widescreen support. So if they're able to put that natively in the GUI on deck, for example, that'd be handy. Well, having a little menu for that.
With that being said, if you're looking for widescreen stuff, there's a thing on EmuDeck. It's in settings, and you can activate widescreen for all your emulators right from there.
Pretty cool.
So handy. It's like it's nice to see, because I feel like EmuDeck guys kind of not like pave the way, but they set it up for like, hey, here's our thing.
Yeah.
Critique it, make it better. Let's help each other. We're all trying to go after the same thing, and that is making the older stuff accessible to a new audience.
Yeah, absolutely.
Speaking of things that aren't getting preserved, which is clearly my bitrate at this point, but also, I had an article that came through from our good friends at hard-drive.net. Nintendo recently announced it's going to stop feeding Yoshi on March 1st, 2024. This comes exclusively from Redmond, Washington. Executives at Nintendo have shocked the gaming world by announcing that it will stop feeding the real Yoshi that lives at Nintendo headquarters on March 1st of next year. They're quoted as saying, President Dougie Bowser, you know how well I know him, this wasn't an easy decision to arrive at. You have to believe us. However, the reality is that Yoshi just isn't that big of a part of our current vision at Nintendo. Sure, he's in Smash Bros. And whatnot, but that's about it. We've all kind of moved past the need for Yoshi, and we really can't justify what we spend on his food and treats anymore. The final thing here, the justification for the shocking move that Scott Tarvin, a gamer that sympathized with Nintendo's decision, said is Nintendo isn't a keeping Yoshi alive company. They're a for-profit corporation. Their loyalties lie with shareholders, not with Yoshi and the people that will be sad when he dies. As a press time, Nintendo has refused several prominent offers from animal sanctuaries and wealthy volunteers to adopt and feed Yoshi. And I know how that's probably going to make a lot of our viewers feel. I know that I have some pretty extreme feelings. Because honestly, I get it. I've worked for these heartless companies that don't care about the small person. And Yoshi is but a small person. And if they want to succeed, they do need to cut costs. And at the end of the day, that's stopping feeding Yoshi. So,
Man, that's a shame, because that's not the only thing to not succeed this year.
What else hasn't succeeded this year? Hold on, that's a very quick transition.
Unfortunately, The Last of Us, just like Yoshi, is about to die on Steam.
Oh no! Oh no!
Unfortunately, out of 5,740 user reviews, they are almost all negative, and you can't even get a high-end PC to run The Last of Us.
Oh yeah.
What?
It is absolutely garbage everywhere. It's garbage on 3090s. It's garbage on Steam Deck. I mean, and Naughty Dog said they don't know what's going on. They're trying to scramble to work on optimization. I mean, they're having the loading times are super long. The thing crashes. There's people that are having shaders where like Joel, his face is flat, but his eyebrows are 3D and super blocky. Like, it's really, really weird. It's really rough. And there's a lot of people that are kind of like, well, this sucks. Like, if you're gonna bring something here, why are we getting broken games? Like, look at that.
I'm sitting here. What? Oh my gosh! Look at those eyebrows.
Yeah.
So bad.
Wow. Dude, how does this company keep getting the rights to like port anything like that? Look, Batman Arkham Knight back in the day when it launched on PC was absolutely awful. And Iron Galaxy, same people that was behind that did this too.
Oh, man.
Uncharted Legacy of Thieves collection that recently launched, it got slaughtered pretty bad early on as well. Like, how do they keep getting work?
But Uncharted Legacy of Thieves collection actually ran. You could get it to run. It would just be glowing hot whenever you're done with it because it's using everything in its power to, process one thing. This was wild. Like I downloaded it. I went to play it, and it was like installing shaders. It took so long, I fell asleep.
Oh man!
And I said, you know what? I'm done. Delete, uninstall. I'll come back to this whenever it's working. Even though I don't really like the game, I would have played it for Mrs. KB because she likes to watch stuff like that.
So all the people who crapped on Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, take note. This is actually bad.
It could be worse.
I mean, come on.
And it's just you would think after having that game ported 1,000 times to and remastered and reworked and all this stuff, they would have at least had it working on Steam.
Well, 66JD says so. You're saying you should play it on PS5? Is that the thing? So Sony's the real winner here.
If you can get a PS5, maybe.
You got one. Just give it to the people, KB. You got one. Sit and collecting some dust.
I'm gonna get it bronzed and just call it underneath of it Sony's ultimate failure. Next, then get a Vita bronze and that second place. You know what I mean? Like,
oh my gosh, that's hilarious. That is so freaking funny. Listen, I have no good clever segue for this next thing, so we're just not going to do that. Instead, I'm just going to tell the people what's going on. So moving into the Wii U stuff, we talked about this a couple of weeks ago with memory failing and your systems getting bricked, and Voltar, the Twitter user that's worked on a solution for this, he's actually designed a Wii U NAND interposer that will allow you to both dump and write your busted Wii U NAND. This is what he says in his tweet, as well as replace any bad NANDs with the micro SD card. NAND is pretty much the memory chip, the actual memory chip. So he says he's going to be revising the routing a little bit more, but it's done. He's going to spin them up. He's probably going to load these all on GitHub, so that way you can just download the GitHub file and send it off to PCBWay or wherever you want to get your own PCBs made for this stuff. But the cool thing about this is that instead of you having to do anything crazy to be able to do it, like booting in any kind of safe mode or anything like that, this is actual just a physical rebuild of that memory. So you never have to worry about it happening again later on down the road. That's the good news. So listen, all praise Voltar. This dude is out there single-handedly saving the Wii U, even if the completionist already documented all of the games. This guy's going to make sure your games stay intact. So
hell yeah.
It's handy. It's saving your consoles, and I think it's an important way to preserve games because not everybody's going to be able to download the H Shop or whatever it's called now that's floating around on the 3DS or something like that. So yeah, that's
the answer to the death of the eShop. So
yep, pretty much. Speaking of the death of things, so this is a very morbid Newsbyte section. So there's
nothing like the sweet release
of death. There's been a lot of what's a very I'm not going to set this up. Let's talk about pulling out. So there's a lot of companies that have been pulling out of E3, and I think it's unfortunate because like Nintendo and Sony and Microsoft and all these other people now have followed suit, basically canceling E3 again. So E3 is like not only dead this year, but there ain't no way that it's going any further. I mean, we talked about this a couple of weeks ago with Summer Games Fest, but E3 is officially canceled now. So when did they announce this? So, it was originally going to be set from June 9th to the 11th, and through all their social channels they've canceled that, and it's I don't know, it's unfortunate. So like Nintendo, EA, Ubisoft, Warner Brothers, Square said they're exploring other options to share its so like this puppy's gone.
But from what it sounded like, nobody really enjoyed E3 anyway. Like it was more we enjoyed all the hype behind everything as far as like from press
Who could?
standpoint, it was a shit show to try to get it to get in. So
Who could? I mean, literally, it was there for advertising. That's all it existed for. And at the end of the day, like, certain press were all that were allowed at everything. It's not like a PAX. It's not like all the things that you can actually go and try these things out at. It was literally an advertising event, and they would select specific news agencies. The one thing I will say about the death of E3 that disappoints me more than anything is Summer Games Fest has been a mess the past couple of years. Nintendo, the thing that E3 did was at least unify some of the marketing. So that way I knew that everything was actually going to be talked about at a specific place at a specific time, instead of me having to track down 35 different schedules to just be like, when is my favorite game going to be talked about at this like summertime period? So I don't know. I'm sad about it, but at the same time, it's not like I was ever going to go there and get in and be able to do anything cool. Like, whatever.
10 years ago,
same
would have been the way, but not now.
I mean, at least we could always go to PAX though, which is nice.
Yeah, Nintendo was at PAX. Nintendo was at PAX. Only repping Tears of the Kingdom, but
I mean, they gotta
only
get that
game that's
Zelda.
important.
Well, they got to get that Zelda DLC out there somehow. You know what I mean? Get those
Oh my god!
It says the man who bought the collector's edition.
Bro, I bought everything for that. Minus. I bought the Switch. I got the Pro controller. I got the Amiibo. I got the collector's edition game box. Man, I'm in it to win it.
That's hilarious.
Bullfrog brings up a good point here. BOC 3 win. We should just do our own E3.
I mean, I was waiting for the streamer awards, man. I mean,
the streamies,
the streamies. You know what I mean?
Oh man, but no, we should just do that. We should do our own E3 news roundup. Everything. Like we'll give our own stuff. We'll invite some developers on here. Who knows?
I'd be down. I'd be down.
You never know.
Oh, you never know. Soft tease. Anyway, you know what else is a soft tease? Let's go into the topic. All right, guys. So listen, before everybody tunes out, like I said, pre-show during the catch-up, like we are not going to be diving into spoiler territory here, okay? So the real question is the Mario movie as good as Minions? And I think unequivocally we all have an answer for that.
Hey, banana.
That is very very honest and open. So we're not going to be going into spoiler territory here. But we did want to give some non-spoilerific thoughts about the new Super Mario, not the new Super Mario, you know what I mean. The Super Mario Bros. Movie that is new, not the new one. But we wanted to talk a little bit about the movie, kind of give our spoiler-free thoughts, talk about what we thought about the sounds, the sights, the experience, Chris Pratt's performance, and just kind of give our overall general thoughts and opinions. I know Eric kind of did that on his YouTube channel a little bit, but I'd like to poke and prod to get some more depth out of that without diving into spoiler territory. And you guys haven't heard from KB and I yet. So, that being said, Eric, since you've already went, let's start with KB because it's the freshest for you. When did you see it? You saw it today, right?
My showing was at 9:55 a.m. I got home an hour before I needed to stream at 1:00, so it was good. It was good. I didn't get my second sleep, so I might be a little crabby today. So please forgive me. First of all, this was my first time back to the movies in about 3-4 years, so it was a very anxious moment for a little bit because I'm like, what do I do? How did anything change? What what do I do? I haven't been here for a while. What do I do? I already bought my ticket. Do I just, you know what I mean? Do I do the thing? How does this work? And I walked in, got my popcorn, got my icy. I almost told the guy, "You enjoy your movie too." And I got my 3D glasses, and I'm sitting there, and I'm like, all right. And then they said, "Put your glasses on." Put my glasses on. I'm there, and I'll tell you what, dude. The first little opening thing that they did before the movie even started with Mario running across, I was in tears. And then that movie continuously had me like on the verge of bawling 4 separate times. It was like I was blown away. I was way wrong about Chris Pratt's voice. It was really good. It has everything you would want from the entire Nintendo universe. The universe that they've created with all their first party titles on the Nintendo Entertainment System on the NES. It's wild that they like made it that immersive. It's wild the way that they had it. I mean, Illumination, you could tell one just from the credits and seeing that Nintendo had people there working real close with them, and I was really glad for that because they hit the nail on the head with this. I mean, I'm excited to see it. I hope I can see it again tomorrow. I know I have to see it again because Mrs. KB didn't see it yet, so I just hope that day's tomorrow because man, it's so good. It's so good.
So you watched it in 3D?
I did.
Are you taking Miss KB to the 3D showing? Or are you guys going to do it in 2D this next time?
Well, she's getting it in 2D.
I understand.
I had already pre-ordered the tickets. Those were pre-ordered, and she wasn't feeling good yesterday. Like last night, she sounded really bad, and I'm like, well, you know what? I'm not going to take a chance that you can't go Saturday, so I'm just going to go Friday. Like. You're beat. You stay sick at home. I'm gonna go see a movie. I'm doing it.
Oh man, I almost thought I was gonna do the same thing with Mrs. Nerd, but she anteed up and said, "Okay, I'm gonna go sit through this movie." So,
dude, it's so worth it. I mean, all the Easter eggs, everything. I mean, I will say this, and this is not. I don't think this is spoilery. We had all voiced our concern about poor old Charles Martinet. Because they're like, he has a small role, and I feel like he had a pretty important role in that movie. Not only did he play the one character, but then he did another one, and I was like, what?
So he does have two vocal appearances in this movie. Okay, so you guys pay attention. Watch out for it. So, KB, watching it only in 3D so far.
Yes, sir. Yes,
would you say that it's necessary to go and watch it in 3D? Would you say it's kind of just an added? Do you feel like this movie with 3D had anything added to it?
No, I mean that was just me just wanting to see it in 3D because if I have an option to see a movie in 3D, I'm going to go for it because I love seeing the 3D stuff. It blows me away because I can't wait till the point where we're sitting in like a 5D theater where we're just in
reality.
You know what I mean? Yeah, like
someone farts on screen, someone runs up, farts right in your face. Like
yep, you know what I mean? That's what I'm talking about. Like we're close. In 3D lets that happen. Like there was a point where I think Mario went to point, and his hand looked like it was overlapping the frame on the movie screen, and I'm like, man, this is so good. But you don't have to see it in 3D. It's not one of those movies where you're going to gain anything. You're not going to see any additional details. It just makes it look cooler. That's all. And I wanted my scene points. You know what I mean? I just wanted to say, hey, look, I got to see it in 3D.
Heck yeah, dude.
But there's so much I want to talk about, but I can't because people haven't seen it.
Yep. Listen, you can't right now, but teaser for all you people out there. If you're part of the Patreon, we're going to be doing a Patreon spoiler cast. So stick around. I want to ask KB some more questions about how he felt about a couple of things, and then I want to talk to Eric a little bit about what he thought about the movie, and then I'll give you guys my thoughts. But KB, from a musical standpoint, and I know this is normally an Eric question, but I'm gonna ask Eric the same thing. From a musical standpoint, how do you feel about the music and the renditions that they threw in this movie? What do you feel about it?
I was a little nervous at first because I'm like, well, let's see what kind of cheesy BS they throw in this thing. You know what I mean? Like it's a movie; they have to do some sort of cinematic song or something epic or whatever, and or the cheesy songs like there was the I Need a Hero or whatever, and then there was another one I think it was Take on Me's in it at one point, and I'm like, all right, like I expected more of that, and they did my boy Kondo right, dude. I love that music so much. I wouldn't mind buying it on vinyl to have it. Like it's really good. They did such a great job. The only thing that I did see is the guy who did the DK rap didn't get credited. He didn't get credit. Yeah.
Yep. Grant Kirkhope got totally shaded by Nintendo and Illumination for that. And the worst part is like he was the one who performed that song too. Like it's not even just like the random performer that they got to come in and do that. Like that's his vocals from like 500 takes of him doing like some cheesy one-liners here and there to try to write this really cruddy like monkey rap.
Did they use the original one in the movie?
The vocals are the same. Vocals are very much the same.
I'll have to go back and listen.
But yeah, what do you think?
Man, it's so good. The music's good, dude. The music's good. If you haven't, like, I think the soundtrack's up for streaming, so you could listen to it on YouTube. I think you can listen to it Spotify, Apple Music, all that. So you can hear it again if you don't get a chance to watch the movie again.
I think the music was pretty good. Just to piggyback off that really quick, they just in general, like I said this in my video, but just as a general thing, you could tell that the people that worked on this knew what was at stake in creating this movie, and that applies to the soundtrack, because with the foundation that was laid with over 40 years of source material, I don't think they necessarily cherry picked the best ones, but they found the themes that were the most useful and the most applicable in certain sequences, and it really just made sense. There was nothing that was like, we're just going to grab this song because it's like, so there was a specific part before the phase 1 of the movie splits into phase 2, which is where Mario and Luigi split off. Once they go down, if you know what I'm alluding to there, they had a little bit of the world 1-2. So some of the small themes and motifs were present where they should be and where you would expect them to be. So those themes were used very well.
There was a lot of care in where that was placed. When I mean there, like where it and there, I mean the music, the tracks. There was a lot of care. That wasn't like I said, I expected it to be a cartoon action movie where they're just throwing songs at it. You know, whoever can pay the most, whatever label can pay the most, that's who's getting their song in.
It's very typical Illumination style.
That's what I was expecting, and they totally did the opposite, and I was very, very surprised. But like I said, you can see the influence from Nintendo in it. You can see it was very much a Nintendo. It was a good quality thing from start to finish. I mean, there
is a reason that Shigeru Miyamoto-san's name is right up there with Chris-san's name, Chris Melandri, not Chris Pratt. Chris Melandri as the director of this film, producer of this film, and it's very clear Nintendo's DNA was infused into this film in as much as Illumination's animation style was. Like that's clear.
I mean, I will say this for Illumination, Minions put them on the map. You know, they had other stuff that was really good, but Minions is like what they're known for. Despicable Me, same thing. Like that's their bread and butter. I feel like this movie is now going to propel them and put them in such a light that, like, you know what I mean? Like, oh, we want that guy to work on our movie. We want that guy to work on this animation. Like, I can see everybody who is involved with that, with their careers being propelled way, way forward.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. You know, one final question here that I'll ask you is, I know I've talked a little bit about the Rotten Tomatoes score that is out for this movie from a critic standpoint versus the audience standpoint. You know, where do you land on the whole critical piece of this film, from it being, because here's the thing, it is a kids movie. I think we can all agree with that. It is very much a kids movie. It's written like a kids movie, but it's written like a Mario game. Yeah. Do you agree with the critics that this movie is not praiseworthy in the sense that taking out nostalgia and fanfare, it would not stand on its own legs as far as a regular film for the film buff?
I think anyone could enjoy this movie. I think the critics are being just that. They're being too critical of it. I mean, if you look at anything Rotten Tomatoes, they don't really give good scores for anything. Unless it's something where in my opinion, I feel they've been paid off. I don't think that they're because I mean, look at the movie critics. They're like, oh, I don't know, it's a video game movie. TV critics are watching it and going, I'm blown away. So like, what's the, you know what I mean? Like, we're at a point now in entertainment where TV shows have just as much going on as a movie does. So like, I mean, you guys watch The Last of Us. That's like a movie chopped up. You know what I mean? And that is a TV show. That is, no matter which way you know, whether you pay for HBO or you torrent it. You know what I mean? That is a TV show. There's no way around that. And I feel like there's some sort of disconnect between the critics out there. I feel like it's I mean, look at video games as a whole. We like to look at the Metacritic score, and there's a lot of stuff where we're like, well, that's fine, it got a 72, but what's the user score? You know what I mean? And I think it just falls in line with the critics are just that they're hypercritical. They're gonna give their unbiased opinion, and that's it. Trust the user reviews. Trust the people that have seen it that said, yep, you need to make this your movie of the year.
That's the thing that I would say more than anything is go into this with a bit of skepticism. A lot of people, I don't know that a lot of people look at the critic reviews and take that as gospel for should you see a movie. One of my users in my chat last night, I think it was last night, it might have been the night before, had mentioned to me, well, maybe they wanted some drama around this. Maybe they wanted some drama for attention for these reviews. And the thing that I said to combat that was, I don't think so, because at the end of the day, a critic's job is on the line to offer proper, good critical response to whatever. And if the audience disagrees with a critic so much, at the end of the day, no one's going to listen to that critic again. It's right. Like, oh, you were very wrong on this. Like, why should I listen to you about this other thing? So I think they did look at this really, really roughly. But the audience score carries some significant weight in this film. So, Eric, talk to me a little bit about your experience with the movie, dude. Like, when did you see it? Who'd you go see it with? What style did you see it? 2D, 3D?
Oh, I saw it day one. I wanted to see it at the first 10 a.m. showing, but we couldn't make it there until noon. So it was my son, Amber, and then my mother went. So it was pretty much two moms taking their little boys to the movie theater. So I was worried because my son has never been in a cinema before, and we've been talking to him about it for weeks and weeks and weeks, and trying to, how it is with kids, you got to warm them up to a long way out. So we saw it in 2D, standard 2D at noon. As soon as the Illumination logo came on, I was like, okay, cool, there's the menu, whatever. And then the logo that followed that was the Nintendo splash screen, and then I just choked up. Choked up because I just think it is an incredibly, as I'm sure it is with you guys, the Mario movie is an incredibly personal experience, because Nintendo and video games and Mario has been a huge part of my life since I was 3. You know what I mean? So this is really a mega chance to win over not only the new people, but the old people as well that have followed and supported Mario and Nintendo for forever. And I feel like they absolutely did that in every way, shape, or form. I did the video about it. As soon as I came back, I did the video about it. But I actually did a first take, which was a half an hour long, talking about the movie, gushing about every minute of it, from plot point to plot point, from point A to point Z, which is the credits. Everything about it. I think it was an incredible. The way I could describe it would be airtight. It was really well done. It was really well conceived. There was no. I think it's a 10 out of 10 movie in every sense. And that's not me being gushy or nostalgic, but it was a really great movie that they took the foundation of and made something unique. Of course, they have to do an origin story because that's what they're going to do, because it has to have stuff before sequels, and which are inevitably going to happen. But I just think it's fantastic. And a lot of people online have compared this to the original Mario Brothers movie from 93, which makes zero sense. They are completely different films. The original Mario movie was directionless. That it was an organizational.
Two directors. They were just really bad at their job.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like there was
the writing changed.
It was up in the air the entire time. Like they have a direction. They had more of a Nintendo involvement. I mean, Nintendo has become like the Iron Curtain was in the Tetris movie. They don't let anybody touch anything, really, unless you have really, really good intentions. And Illumination did a really fantastic job. And there's no comparing those two movies because they're completely different. And if people want to say that certain movies are better, that's all well and fine. But I completely, vehemently disagree with that because this Mario movie captured the essence and the spirit of Mario in every way, shape, or form. Perfect.
The only thing I could add to that, Eric, is the only thing that they could really compare it to is they both started in Brooklyn and they're plumbers. That's it.
Yeah. Well, that's the Mario blueprint. You know.
The first like 20 minutes is the only thing you can compare the two movies to.
Sure.
Other than that, they are vastly different. Different.
And the Mario series has had more time to cook as well since that original film. I mean,
not that there's still a lot of substance there. I mean, it is very like this movie. Don't get any kind of preconceived notions that it does anything mind-blowing about the story of Mario, because it is still very much Mario's on an adventure, the Peach's castle's in danger, and Bowser's coming to destroy. Like that's just what it is. And they stayed, instead of trying to reinvent the wheel, which is what unfortunately the Super Mario Bros. Movie from 1993 had to do, because they didn't know what they were doing. They didn't realize how close to because there was no plot for the first one, not really, unless you read the instruction manual. Like they didn't know what to do with that, so they built onto that. But functioning this as a kids movie and not a live action thing, and doing it animated allows you to suspend your disbelief just a little bit and be able to kick back and enjoy a paper thin story wrapped up in beauty. Like it is beautiful. You know, I asked KB a music question about the soundtrack and the score. I want to ask you a little bit about how do you feel about the licensed music that they threw into this movie? Because there are 5 tracks here. There was "Holding Out for a Hero" from Bonnie Tyler, which pre-show we kind of talked a little bit about. "Take on Me" by Aha. "Thunderstruck" by AC/DC. "No Sleep Till Brooklyn" and "Mr. Blue Sky" by Electric Light Orchestra in this. Do you feel like those songs had a place, or did they kind of take you out of that film a little bit?
I don't think they necessarily took. I think that if anything, the only one that may have taken me out of the film was "Thunderstruck." But they're all like cliche, like this is the moment that's happening in the movie song. Anytime you hear like "I Need a Hero" in a movie, it's like, okay. Anytime you hear "No Sleep Till Brooklyn," it's like, well, okay, that makes sense because they're there. So I think the "Take on Me" thing was pretty cool. There was apparently supposed to be a different song that played at that point as well, which I read
during
a little
Thunderstruck.
Yeah,
during Thunderstruck.
Yeah.
That was actually why I was hoping you would hit on that, because I was going to ask you if you had seen the alternate song or heard the alternate song. It's up on Twitter.
No.
And it's on the soundtrack on YouTube Music that you can listen to as well. It's a beautiful rendition of DK Swing, and there's another one that I cannot remember what the name of the track is from David Wise that was blended together to create this really beautiful like composition. And instead they went with this licensed track of Thunderstruck, and I'm like, I
think it's because it's a crowd pleaser, like. I mean, not that it pleased me really, but you know, I would have preferred like a more original, or like having a David Wise song in the movie is fantastic. People don't know David Wise is Rare's composer in the old days, so did all the Donkey Kong stuff. So I mean, that would have been a really cool thing. But you know, they still had a couple of motifs. You know, when they went before all the Kongs were shown, they went to where the Kongs live, and there were elements of stuff played there, and like. My ears perk up when I hear stuff like that. So I don't know. I would have preferred more of a showcasey thing rather than like AC/DC.
Yeah, right. I'm with you. It just felt very much like, all right, well, we got the rights to this song. Let's just throw it in here because it'll
standard illumination, man. Standard illumination. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So
That's it.
I don't know. Like, I think the music choices from like an external piece there, they're fine. I just would have preferred continuation of Koji Kondo's work and Brian. What is the guy's name? Yeah, Brian Taylor that did the composing for this film. There are a couple of other original songs that are in this movie that I don't want to spoil too much, but I will tell you these are available for you guys to listen to now. So, and there's a music video for one that came out today. That's really good. But since those things are out, I feel like we're a little bit out of spoiler territory with those, since anybody can just go watch those for free right now. Eric, tell me how you felt about Jack Black's musical performance as Bowser in this movie.
Well, Jack Black's performance in general was great, and it didn't seem like... I said in my video that it was... I was worried that it would be hard to suspend belief between like Chris Pratt playing Mario and like, you know, like knowing that he's playing that character, but like I didn't feel like that. Whereas Jack Black was like... it was Jack Black the entire movie. Like that was it. So like Jack Black always has this musical flair to him regardless. So that specific scene, I was like, oh, I'm not surprised. And that was apparently his original idea. So it just made sense. It was very funny. So it just seemed like an excerpt from like School of Rock for instance. Right. So it was just very Jack Black. I thought it was fine. It was great.
I think the best part of making trivia for that performance in particular is that Jack Black talked in a prior interview, I believe it was with IGN, about he actually improv nearly 500 songs before one got accepted.
That's hilarious.
For this movie. So like this song is great. You should go listen to it. There is a music video available for it. Just search Peaches, Jack Black. It'll come up immediately. Like you cannot miss it. It is really good. One of the things that we haven't really talked about in depth, I know you talked a little bit about in your video over on YouTube, Eric, is the voice work in this movie. And we talked about Chris. You talked about Chris Pratt and really kind of being able to separate the two, and you kind of hinted around just then about the Jack Black piece, where it is watching him be Bowser. It is still very much Bowser, or still very much Jack Black behind that. Are there any voices though that took you away from those characters? Like legitimately across the whole cast, are there any voices that took you away from those characters being represented by those voices, or were you just bought into, oh, that's Donkey Kong, or oh, that's definitely Toad?
The only thing that took me out was Seth Rogen's laugh, because I'd think of like when he's like smoking pot and like Pineapple Express or something, because it's the same thing, you know what I mean? So like, but I get why they picked him though. Like they picked all those characters because they feel that the actors mold to those characters. So Donkey Kong laughing like Seth Rogen almost makes sense. Yeah. It's weird.
I would agree with that. Agree with that. KB, what do you think?
The only one that I was like, the voices of the Toads, man, because if you guys watched my Super Mario RPG playthrough, I got into some Toad voicing, man. So I was like, that's not how a Toad sounds. How dare you? I really thought, you know, the voice of Luigi, my man Luigi, it was good. It's still, you could still tell it's very much Charlie Day. It's just a variation of Charlie Day, which is what I thought we would get with Chris Pratt, but we got the total opposite. But the Toad voices, I'm like, that's not a Toad. I'm like sitting there like, that's not my Toad.
There were so many of them that were just kind of off the wall. Like if you guys have seen any of the previews previously, it was like, but we're adorable. Like you have that variation. You have Keegan-Michael Key's, don't touch that mushroom. Like you've got that. Yeah. But like then you've got this like very regal Toad where he's like, we will defend you, Princess.
We will defend the castle.
Yes.
It's like, dude, this guy's like 2 foot tall. Like, why are you...
Right? Right? What you gonna do? So, like, you did have. I will say there was a lot of Toad voice variation, and I understand why. It is for a sense of realism, like,
Right.
and because not every Toad is going to sound the same, but it's a cartoon. You can do whatever you want. Like,
Right,
you can make every Toad
exactly.
sound like Michael Keegan Key for all I care. Like, just do that. That's what I was half expecting. But no, like, I think I agree with you, Eric, that when because in that scene, it is very much a cut to Donkey Kong's face
Yep.
and him doing the traditional Seth Rogen laugh.
Yep.
And I think that's why that was so jarring for me
I know.
in that scene, because that wasn't bringing out Seth Rogen was not the focus of that scene by any means, and then it suddenly very much was.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I understand. But at the end of the day, kind of what you mentioned, you know, all of these characters would kind of gel with their actor anyway, or all the actors would kind of gel with their character anyway. I would have to say, personally, Seth Rogen as Donkey Kong was a standout for me in that, because
Really?
he already embodies Monkey in so much of a way. Jack Black is really good as Bowser. Jack Black is phenomenal as Bowser. That Bowser was made for Jack Black. It is very clear
agree.
that Bowser was made for Jack Black. The Luigi being Charlie Day, I'd said it before. Charlie Day already exudes little brother energy. Like he already exudes that. Like, I'm just like, all right, yeah, no, I can get behind that as him being Luigi. Anya Taylor-Joy, I didn't know anything about her prior to this film. Like, I know she was in the Queen's Gambit, but didn't watch that.
Yeah, same. I didn't watch that.
So I had no issues with her being there, but she, you know, upon watching the film, you know, I kind of get why Mario's all hung up on her. Like, I get it. She did a great job as Princess Peach, and that Princess Peach was really, really good. And then I feel like I need to issue an official apology, because I have been the most vocal and vehemently opposed to the Mario voice. So let me put my flag in the sand now and say I fully apologize to Chris Pratt as Mario. He did a phenomenal job, and there was enough of a effort put there to define what a Mario could and should sound like in any kind of real world term by Chris Pratt, that I cannot ignore the effort that was actually involved there. There was to use an Eric Laddism here, they understood what was at stake with this film. Like, they understood that. And I don't think that they would have cast Chris Pratt and just let him do whatever with that voice and possibly ruin the face of another Nintendo franchise film if they didn't think that he could have done it. And I should apologize. I'm sorry, Chris Pratt. Like,
There was a thing I read that, like, in one of the interviews he was doing, he had said, I got asked to do the movie. He's like, and instantly I thought, oh no, I'm gonna ruin people's childhoods. So, like, he knew what was at stake. He absolutely knew that, like, if he doesn't do this the way that, like, he feels did it justice, people were going to hate him. I mean, I kind of think a little bit of that goes back to the hate the original Mario movie got, and how many careers got ended from that. And I think he's probably like, oh God, here we go. Okay, I got this. I think I can do it. And I think he did, man. I was with you. I didn't like his voice either. I'm like, well, this sucks. This movie's dumb. I don't want to watch it. Now I'm like, he did so good.
Well, look at the trailers. Like, they omitted the Mushroom Kingdom Here We Come line. That was bad. They omitted the "what is this" line when he's looking at the mushrooms. Like, a couple things had been changed from the trailer.
Yep.
When you have the opening of the movie and it plays that commercial, like,
oh yeah,
the accents are more hammed up, and I was like, hold on. I was like
getting
legit
into some mild spoiler territory here, because that wasn't played off in any of the trailers. So,
yeah, that's correct.
You guys, it's within the first 5 seconds of the film, so don't think it's going to do anything to you.
So like, when you hear the voices, I was kind of like, huh. Okay.
Same.
Yep.
So I'll leave that as that.
Oh, you're golden. You're golden. There are two things here that I wanted to bring up that I didn't know if you guys were aware of, and they kind of center around some drama pieces surrounding this film just a little bit. And it is in the same vein of the voices for this first piece. You know, Seth Rogen has been catching a lot of flack on the internet for his performance as Donkey Kong.
Really?
Because a lot of people are saying he is the only actor who put zero effort into his character voice acting out of everybody there. And I wanted to know if you guys had any takes on that from that perspective. I've already kind of said, like, he was a standout for me because I think he aligned with it. But how do you guys feel about that? Do you think he needed to put on a character actor voice, or do you think he did a fine job?
Well, there was only other one Donkey Kong voice before, and that was in the Donkey Kong Country show. And that was so shit. Like, I mean, so like, there's really no groundwork to go off from, and everything had been given a thumbs up from Miyamoto anyway. So I didn't have any issues with it. And even in retrospect, trying to like think of issues that I had with it, there are none, other than maybe his laugh. But like, it's just Seth Rogen's laugh. So whatever, it's fine.
But his laugh is Donkey Kong. You played Donkey Kong Country when Donkey Kong. He comes out. You know what I mean? Like
that's it makes sense.
Seth Rogen.
Yep. No, I'm with you. I think in the live chat, less than Sarah here says people are idiots. Hot take, and I agree with that.
That is not a hot take. That is true.
That is absolute truth. It is unabashed truth. I think Seth Rogen did a fine job. The second piece here that is a drama piece that I don't know if you guys were aware of. John Leguizamo, who played Luigi in the original 1993 film, has went on record saying he is boycotting the film. And I didn't know if you guys were aware of that.
Yes, I know about that.
But I will give you the reason after I ask you guys if you think his opinion is valid or why he may want to boycott it.
Oh, I don't know why he's boycotting it, so I have no dog in this race.
I'm sorry, but his reason for boycotting, I think, is completely unfounded. I think he just that's a very awful opinion and a very poor hot take.
Yeah, the reason that he is boycotting it is because he says the movie has lack of Latin culture or representation within the film. Here's the thing that I will tell you that I think is extremely funny, and I don't know if you guys know this. Anya Taylor-Joy is from Argentina. She speaks fluent Spanish. She's been the only person on the Spanish promotions team going and talking to all these people in her fluent Spanish.
Well, hold on. If we look at this very, very, very critically, Spanish derives from Latin.
Mm-hmm.
Italian derives from Latin.
Yeah.
The biggest language that was spoken throughout the ancient world back in ancient Rome was what?
Greek.
Well, Greek too, yeah. But like, you know what I mean? Like, there's deep-seated roots with Latin. I mean, I can see maybe where he's trying to come from, but then again, the girl's from Argentina. Come on.
Here's my biggest feelings on this. At the end of the day, you don't need Latin representation in a movie that's not about Spanish people or Spanish speaking people. It's about Italians. So listen, they are the Super Mario Brothers. Like it is about Italians, and that's fine. Honestly, my biggest take on that is that John Leguizamo is just butthurt that he didn't get asked to be a part of it.
I agree.
Probably.
That is my biggest take on that, and it's extremely frustrating for me as a viewer because I still want to be a fan of that original movie. I think that original movie still has a place. I don't think it's a good movie. I've seen it plenty of times, and I used to say it's the best Mario movie we've got because it's the only one we've got. Now it's the second best movie we've got.
Correct.
Okay.
Agreed.
So, but I mean that's kind of where I land on this film is. This movie, by far, easily takes the place as number one Mario movie of all time. And I would argue here, it is the #1 video game movie of all time. The most true to itself, to its source material, save for maybe Final Fantasy Advent Children.
I mean, that's
The most true to its source material.
That's a continuation of like an already existing story. Like, you know, same thing with the Sonic movie. Like, a lot of people will probably inevitably compare a Sonic movie to that, but there's no comparison whatsoever at all.
I mean,
they are two very different experiences. Sonic movie did the typical movie thing where
Yes.
you're mixing live action with animation. You're trying to create stakes that are imaginary or not even realistic to what would normally happen in a Sonic game. Although, who knows? I've played a few Sonic games and those stories are insane bonkers anyway. But you know, it is one of those things where I'm having a hard time saying, you know, like, is it really that bad? Like, some of the comparisons they did make that critics made was the percentage basis for other video game adaptations and how it stacked up. Like, Sonic the Hedgehog has a 64%. The first Sonic the Hedgehog movie is 64% on Rotten Tomatoes from critic scores. These will all be critic scores. Sonic the Hedgehog 2, 69 nice percent. Detective Pikachu, 68%. Angry Birds movie, the first Angry Birds movie, 43%. The second one, 73%. Altogether, those video game adaptations average about 63% on Rotten Tomatoes, putting it 16 points ahead of the Super Mario Bros. Movie, and earning more fresh scores and ranking higher than the Super Mario Bros. Movie. So I cannot say, hey, like, this is anywhere near accurate. I have to stand with a lot of my own convictions here and just claim it as the best video game adaptation movie I think I have ever seen.
it is. It absolutely is, because they didn't try to Hollywood it up. They had the guy, the father of Mario, be the producer. They had the company that game is franchised with help out. Like, that's how you do a video game movie. You don't just throw The Rock in a suit and call it Doom. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I forgot about that movie.
like, but you know what I mean, though? You don't just like go hire an artist and then you get some janky looking Sonic, you know, like, you actually do your research, do your homework, get the tender love and care that deserves. And I really want to see more Mario movies. There's enough content out there to do it.
Well, Chris Pratt says supposedly there's going to be plenty more coming. So we'll be able to stream this, I think, early May.
May 9th, I've heard.
Yep, that's
May
a
9th.
Placeholder title, whatever. But you know, I'm still gonna go and see it again. I want to stream it. I mean, my son has been watching trailers of it because he wants to watch the movie. I've been even looking for cam rips of it just to see it, just to throw it on the TV. You know what I mean? Is that ethical? Absolutely not. But I paid $60 for 4 tickets. I mean, come on.
I will be paying again. I will be paying again.
I will be paying
again and again and again.
I'll buy it.
I can't pay anymore.
I'll buy the movie. So, customer here.
I saw it both in 2D and 3D, by the way. I realized I didn't really tell you guys how I watched it. I went and watched it in 2D on the first day with my kids and my wife. And then I took Trip, my oldest, to go see it again yesterday in 3D.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm with you, KB. I don't think the 3D really added anything, but I hate 3D movies because I'm a glasses wearer.
Yeah,
so it's very hard for me to find good fitting polarized 3D glasses that are going to go over my glasses. So it's a little frustrating for me to watch those. But I wouldn't say it necessarily added anything. I would say see it in whatever version you want. The 3D was acceptable, and it's still a good way to see it. You should just see it. Go watch it.
I'd love to see it 3D, but I mean, like, there's no way in hell I could get 3D glasses on a kid.
That's why I didn't take Lando. I took just Trip because he's 6 and he could handle that. So.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm just glad to hear both little dudes had a good time. You know what I mean? Lando had a good time. I mean, because I feel like Trip was gonna have a good time regardless. He's at that age where he's like, "Yep, movies, let's go, let's do it." You know, and I'm glad that little lad had a good time. You know what I mean?
Did.
Like, it's
just take Tipper and Sammy.
Listen, I told people on stream they have take your pet to the zoo day, and I wish I could take them because I got a couple of heathens, man.
Just get them a couple of vests, say emotional support animal, and then just like take them both in. They can't stop you. They can't ask you.
So they have for like out here, you could take your pet to the zoo. You could take it to a baseball game. Take your pet to the hockey games, but you can't take them to a football game. What's up with that?
It's too violent. The dogs just can't handle it.
Unreal.
Well, so piggybacking off of the Mario movie, we have one last thing to wrap this show up, which is a really lighthearted way to end the show. So this is a great question, Cody. I think you put the dog, and I think it came from the IGN interviews of where they were. The guy was interviewing all of the stars of the movie. What would your power up be? Right now, I feel like my power up would be never-ending heartburn.
No.
I'm having fun on the show, but my God, I'm dying to get upstairs and take something. Like my insides are getting
Prilosec.
so I'm probably eating like the green mushroom or something, dude. Like I don't know what the hell's wrong with me.
No.
What about you guys?
Oh man, KB, do you have any thoughts on what your power up would be? Like,
Absolutely, it would be not giving a shit. That'd be my power up. That'd be my power up, hands down. I mean, you guys know me. I say what I want.
Yeah.
I don't care. Don't care if I don't like you. I'm over it. I'm over you. On to the next one. You know what I mean? Like that'd be my power up. The power of not giving a damn.
What about
I hear
you?
the dogs in the background losing their minds.
We're raging over here, man. We're raging.
Oh man, honestly, I think my power up would be unabashed enthusiasm. Like I think. Here's the thing, and I know. Look, at the end of the day, it's very similar to what Charlie Day said. But what I'm talking about is I can produce excitement for anything, and I can bring it out, and I can do a show, and I can talk about anything, and be passionate about it. And that's the biggest thing. Maybe it's just passion. It's not enthusiasm. It's just manufactured passion. So that's what I think my power up would be.
Oh yeah, there you go. I think that's a wonderful way to cap the show off. Mario movie was really great. Go see it, and we're gonna talk more in depth about some spoilers and stuff later in the week, and we'll have that up on Patreon, which we are really looking forward to. So just remember, if you want to support the show, 3 tiers, more content, more often, patreon.com/breakfastchampions, and we'll also have our pre-show and stuff up as well. I thought it was by the way, there's also going to be something else exciting to announce, which I think we'll probably just discuss next week on the show. Yeah. I'm very excited. More of a way that you can interact with us than before on whatever device that you use, which should be cool.